Greetings. My name is Louis Molina. I'm the host of the Life Puro podcast. Today, I'm joined with Black Star Line founder Aric Bay and the Smoking Swan cigar brokerage Albert Cisneros. So, with that, all right, here we go. My clumsy intro. So, how you guys doing today?
Good, brother. How about you?
Yeah, not too bad. So this will be a first, just to let our listeners and viewers know. This is a first for us in that we're interviewing a guest who we don't have any business relationship. Maybe not yet.
Maybe not yet.
But I like
coming.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you got to start somewhere. But me being a cigar nerd, I'd like to learn about anyone coming into the industry or people that have been in the industry that I just haven't had a chance to deal with. So welcome to Habana Port.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So before we get to just our discussion, you had given me some samples of your cigars.
Yep.
Which cigar? Okay, so I'm a shop. You're trying to make your pitch to us why we should get shelf space, and this is actually a topic that we've had on this podcast several times.
Yeah.
What's your pitch to me, and why should I carry you? And which one should I start? Like, if I'm only going to smoke one, which one should I start?
Well, how strong do you like to smoke?
Okay, good question. I mean, I like it. I like them just depending on my mood.
Okay.
I can do anything right now.
Ah, cool.
So I can do mild, medium, or strong.
All right.
So so like the one cigar, I did smoke a cigar earlier, but that was about 3 hours ago. So I feel I have a good clean palate.
Yeah, it's clean palate. Yeah.
Plus with our espresso, I'll definitely have it cleaned a little bit more. But yeah, tell me which one of these should I start?
Well, since you have a relationship with Ostos and Tabacalera La Isla, I'm gonna say go with the Mr. Fahrenheit here.
Okay.
You read
Nice.
my mind.
So-
You read my mind.
All right.
Yeah, so we can go with that one.
All right. So we can cut and light. If you guys want to cut and light, feel free. We can smoke.
Well,
Here.
Yeah. We'll
Okay.
just
Yeah, whichever.
and then
Yeah, we're good. So this is called the Mr. Fahrenheit. You've given me your brochure.
Yep.
Kind of giving me the portfolio of what you carry, and we'll get more into more detail.
Yep.
But you said this is the Mr. Fahrenheit. Can you maybe explain a little bit more about this blend in particular while we cut and light?
Yeah, so Mr. Fahrenheit is rolled by Tabacalera La Isla. The blend is done by me. It's a Connecticut broadleaf with a Dominican binder and Nicaraguan Dominican filler. Has a shaggy foot on it, so you smoke the filler before you get to the wrapper. So it gives you two different experiences there.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it's kind of an exposed foot
Yep,
there.
yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's 6x46 Corona size, and it's called Mr. Fahrenheit because, for one, there's a firefighter on the band. I'm a retired Chicago firefighter.
Oh, okay, cool.
So yeah, I was injured on the job and cut my career short. I was on the job 7 years.
Wow.
So I'm also a big fan of Queen. So in Don't Stop Me Now, Freddie Mercury sings about Mr. Fahrenheit in the song. So that's another reason why I named it Mr. Fahrenheit.
Nice.
Yep. So, a lot of all my cigars have meanings to them. The names have meanings to them. Some of them have singular or dual meanings to them. So,
Okay.
yep. But as far as getting into the lounge, I talk about my journey in the cigar industry.
Okay.
I discuss the factories that I work with. I work with Aganorsa Leaf. I work with Tabacalera La Isla. I work with Oveja Negra, and I also work with La Zona.
Okay.
And I start.
Eric's.
Yep. Eric Espinosa. Yep.
La Zona.
So the first factory that I worked with was El Titan de Bronze. So I always tell, I don't hide who I work with. I always tell who I work with, and I always let them know that I am the owner, and I'm the blender, and I'm also the janitor and the sales rep.
Yeah.
And we're a young company, so I do everything.
Right.
So I talk about my work ethic. Last year I did 100 events, cutting lights nationwide. So I'm always on the road. I'm in 2 cities a month. I do 2 to 3 events in each city that I go to.
Okay.
So I let them know that you have my full support, and I have reps now, so you have my rep support. And then the tobacco is great, and because I have great factories that I work with,
Right.
and each blend is based off of my palate. So,
Okay.
So I make sure to let them know that, and then after I talk about myself and talk about the company and all that, the cigars have to stand up. So I encourage them to either smoke it with me or or smoke it sometime soon, after we left.
Yeah.
So yep. So that's what I talk about, because there's thousands of cigars that you can buy or you can carry. There's thousands of cigars out there, but you have to make sure you differentiate yourself from other companies.
You already know. Like, how long have you been on the road or selling your cigars now? You said 5 years?
This is our 5th year.
5 years.
So the cigar I'm doing with Espinosa is our 5th year anniversary cigar.
And I didn't really come to know or hear about you until last trade show.
Okay.
So you were already in existence, what, 4 or 3 years at that point?
Yep.
And that was the first I heard of it.
Ah, nice.
Well, I mean, bad for me because like I try to keep up with the industry. And I don't know why, like I just maybe just slipped through the cracks. I don't know if you get mentioned on some other media like Half Wheel or not. Maybe I just missed it. But I remember seeing your booth last summer and I was like, I like the branding. I'm a sucker for, packaging and branding and design.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, who's this guy? And then I heard that there was a blend at least that you contracted to Hostos at Tabacalera La Isla. And yeah, as you said, we have a working relationship with him too. We have our own blends made with him.
Yeah. Great factory.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's I mean, just a gentleman too. Like I was on WhatsApp with him a week ago, and I was just explaining to him like, man, it's such it's so what's the word? Not enlightening, but just a pleasure to realize like you are one of the types in this industry. It's not as laissez-faire as other businesses. I mean, you're on it like business wise, like you're always communicating, and it's really awesome. I mean, and I say that because for me, like we're having worked with other people or have seen other factories that we don't even deal with. The kind of approach they take, it's just kind of like I said, laissez-faire, just kind of, I'll get to it tomorrow or next week. So it's really frustrating. And I'm the type of shop that, and I'm not knocking it, but I'm not the hobbyist type of shop. Okay. You probably have seen those shops
definitely
of guys that are manning it just as like a hobby. I'm more business focused, even though this is my passion and it is kind of a hobby, but I come from a Wall Street mindset, and that's kind of how I approach it.
Okay.
So in this industry, as we know, it's an old world kind of Latin, we'll get to it tomorrow type. So it's just like really frustrating at times, and to see Hostos doing the opposite. He's hungry and he's on it. So you definitely have hooked up with an awesome manufacturer.
Yeah, I'm glad to be with him in his earlier years, So later on, I'll have some seniority in there.
Yeah, I know. I kind of made the comment to him a few months ago, like, man, Hostess, when you blow up, hopefully you don't forget about us little people that helped you out. I was like, no, you're good. So because I think General or Ford Cigars just released a cigar with him.
Yeah, the Colonel Taylor.
Is that what it is? Yeah, okay.
It's for Cigars International, if I remember right.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, you're seeing the other industry players using him. So his capacity is gonna get cut at some point. With his trajectory.
Yeah, I was just down at the factory a couple of weeks ago, and he was already talking about he might need to start hiring some more rollers. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So
how many pairs of rollers does he have now? Or does he implement pairs of rollers, or just one roller who does the bunching, the bonchero, and the rolling? Yeah. Or does he employ a pair?
No, it's buncheros and rollers.
Okay, so he has a pair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
how many pairs could you estimate?
Maybe 16, I think.
Okay.
So it's
small.
bigger. Yeah, it's still small. It's bigger than El Tiden Bronze, but still small compared to like Aganorsa or Oveja Negra, Yeah. So.
Okay. And kind of going back, I asked why or how many years you've been in it. And as soon as you had come in with Albert, you heard me with the kind of not the anti-pitch, but like, all right, this is why you probably won't get here or what we're looking for. Right. And I mean, a lot of shops face the same. You probably have heard the kind of the folded arm stance, like, no, we don't want to give you a chance right now. Right. And you've probably heard the excuses of, and I think it's valid, right? There's limited shelf space.
Yeah. Real estate is limited.
You're not known yet. So, and that's why, like, I was surprised when you said you were 5 years into it, because I hadn't heard of you. And if you're a one-man operation like we are, I mean, we're a small family business, so we get it. Like, when we have new applicants coming in trying to get a job here, we tell them, look, all you are, like, whatever notions you had about working in a cigar shop, throw them out. Because basically you're a glorified janitor. Right. And we try to make it, to where we don't want them to work.
Okay.
That way, if someone still wants to stay, it's like, okay, they are eager and they want to work. And you have experience, Albert, with the cigar, running a cigar shop. So you can attest to that, right?
Yeah. So, you're right, because when you own your own shop, you're the custodian, you're the, electrician, you wear all kinds of hats, right? So, whenever I had my shop, I would always have people coming in and one of the questions I would ask is, do you have a problem cleaning toilets?
Mm-hmm.
And they'll be like, cleaning toilets? It's like, yeah, I mean, if I have to do it,
right,
because I'm the owner, then
and you can't afford janitorial services.
No,
I mean, that's
you
expensive.
can't. Yeah, of course.
Might as well do it yourself.
So, and I would tell them, like, if I have to do it, that means that you have to do it too. So, and then someone would say, well, I don't even clean my own restroom, so why would I clean yours? And it's like, okay,
cow.
well, thank you for your time. You know?
Well, it should be because you're getting paid for it. All right, I can understand, which to me is kind of your slob if you don't clean your own bathroom. But at least you're getting paid to clean a bathroom.
Exactly.
Right.
So.
Wow. But yeah, no, I mean, that's kind of what we, as retailers have to face. Wearing many hats.
Yeah. So,
it's interesting to hear, a manufacturer point of view similarly.
Yeah.
Say the same thing.
Yeah, I wear every hat in the company. But my VP of sales is Cliff Nelson. He's a retired first sergeant in the Army.
Okay.
And then my national sales manager, he lives in Detroit. So they travel with me if need be. But now that I picked up some reps, I've been going out and just riding with like Albert, and I got a rep in Southern California, and then I got a rep that handles like the Northeast for me too. So
wow. So
you're
getting some representation.
Yeah. We're getting around some. I'm carried in roughly 90 to 100 lounges nationwide.
Okay.
I'm also carried by a liquor chain in the Midwest called Benny's.
I've heard of them.
Yeah,
out of Chicago.
Yep.
Man, you got in with them, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, that's good.
All 45 locations, bro.
Yeah.
I actually did a special cigar for them. My cigars are doing so well there. I did one specially for them. It's called John Baptiste. So it's John Baptiste Point du Sable. He's the founder of Chicago. He's a Haitian man. So a lot of people didn't know that. So I was like, that's a good way for me to put out some Chicago history and rock it out with Benny. So I did that cigar through Aganorsa. It's a Corojo 2012 wrapper with a Nicaraguan binder and filler, 6x52.
Is that in on the sheet here?
No,
because it's exclusive. You said,
it's exclusive. Yeah.
Okay.
So if they ever, Benny's actually rated as their #1 cigar for 2023. So it did really well.
What's
bro.
the MSRP on that?
About $12.50 or so, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a, average price for a Toro.
Yeah.
So
now that's an average price, right?
Yeah. right. So
5 years
I
ago,
got great
$12 was like,
that was a premium.
Crazy?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy to see like the last 2 years the inflationary rate. The first episode we did of the year was kind of like a year in review. Mm-hmm. Whereas I just did a solo segment and just kind of broke down numbers from our own, data. Since we have a POS that can track all these analytics, and like I said, I'm a Wall Street minded individual.
Okay.
I like to look at that. What we did year over year, other metrics like that, and the inflationary rate was on average was about. I mean, we saw some companies go at least 5%. Some 10 and some 15%, which is huge. Like historically, the industry might see a 1 to 2% inflationary rate every year. But what insight can you give?
Well, I was going to tell Aric here that just a little background on you. He actually went to school in.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
He went to school in Chicago, Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, Chicago. Well, it's not really Chicago.
I mean,
Indiana, but it was like 90 minutes away from South Bend.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I know Chicago. I was going to ask you, what part of Chicago do you live in?
South side.
Okay.
Yeah, Beverly area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out.
I don't really know all the neighborhoods. I know a lot of the suburbs because a lot of my classmates lived out.
Okay.
In the suburbs, Elgin, Naperville, were some, but I hadn't been there. Kind of like what you were saying, you hadn't been to Shreveport since you were 8.
Right.
For me, it's been since 2003 or 4.
Okay.
Since I've been to South Bend and Chicago area.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I attended Notre Dame, and every spring we would go either to the Cubs games or the White Sox.
Nice.
Cubs. Cubs.
Now, what are you? Are you White Sox or Cubs or none of the above?
Actually, neither. Baseball bores me.
Okay.
But actually, it was 2 years ago. I did an event with the Cubs. So
Really?
they asked me to come and sell at their Juneteenth celebration that they had at the stadium. So
What?
yeah, I went up there. It was a good time.
How did that go? Did they smoke? Were people smoking
No,
in Wrigleyville?
no,
you
people would just buy.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, you couldn't smoke, so that was a drag. But you know, but other than that, it was a great experience. Yeah. And then this year, I was invited to do an event with the Chicago Blackhawks, so I'll be with them for Juneteenth.
Wow,
in June.
cool.
Yeah, man.
So you're really like trying to market yourself as like the Chicago brand.
Oh yeah,
because you don't really. I mean, at least I don't really know of one. I know years ago there was one company. I forgot their name. I think they were a shop, and they were trying to like market a brand.
Yeah, you may be talking about 708, maybe.
No.
But Mo from Patina lives in the south suburbs of Chicago.
Okay.
Glenn from Christoph lives in the western suburbs of Chicago.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not the only one, but I'm the one.
Yeah. Right. No, that's awesome. So you said you were a firefighter before.
Yep.
When was your first cigar? Like, when did you smoke your first cigar? Like, what made you get into cigars?
The very first cigar I had, I was in the Bahamas in my early 20s. So
okay,
I don't even remember what cigar it was. I had just got off a Bahama Mama cruise and I was drinking like 151 with juice, and I was extremely drunk. And you know, you just walking around drunk. You're like, oh, there's cigars. You just go grab one. And
when in Rome, right?
Yeah. So that was my first one. So I don't even really remember it.
Okay.
But
you don't even remember the brand it was, or
Nope.
Yeah.
It was probably some trash. You know.
Do you remember the price point about what you paid?
I was drunk, bro.
Oh,
like
no.
extremely drunk.
Maybe you spent like $50 or something and didn't know. Oh, no.
Bro, I was drunk. Yeah, I don't remember.
Wouldn't doubt it.
That reminds me of my senior year.
Yeah. But
I went to the Bahamas in senior year. Kind of had similar instances there. Wow, that's funny.
But I was I started smoking full time in the firehouse. So
okay.
Yeah. So I started smoking like kind of infused cigars, like black cherry and stuff like that, right? So then I started going to cigar lounges and, you know, just wanted to learn. So I was like, so I saw this brand, Drew Estates, and I'm like, okay, not familiar. So
small brand?
Yeah, a little brand, right?
Yeah, boutique brand.
About what year was that? Or years ago?
Yeah, about 8 years ago or so.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm talking to the humidor manager, and I'm asking about the cigars, and they're like, yeah, this is a full body cigar. And I didn't know what that meant. And I was like, but I was like, I think I'm a full body guy. So I bought it, and it kicked my ass, but I was fine. And the cigars changed my palate like really fast. So I tried to go back and smoke some of those black cherry cigars again, and they taste like shit. So I was like, all right, so I see I'm going to leave that type of cigar alone. And then I just continue my journey with natural leaf. And
you transitioned early to the natural.
Yeah. So then I just started smoking. I smoked a ton of Drew Estate stuff, but I also kept smoking other brands as well. So my palate kept changing like really rapid. Then I would either be reading about the cigar that I'm smoking, or I would be reading about another cigar, just trying to learn. And then my love, like you kept saying, you're a cigar nerd. My cigar nerdness was growing, and I was like, you know what? I think I want to start a business, but I was like, I don't know what. And then it was almost like my ancestors whispering at me, like, look at your hand, do cigars. So I contacted my childhood friend, and I asked him, I was like, hey, bro, you think you want to help me start a cigar line? And he was like, hell yeah, let's go.
Wow. So
we started networking at Drew Estate events. Jonathan Drew would come every year to Casa de Monte Cristo to release the UF4 for Halloween. So he always had a Halloween party there. So that's when I first interacted with him. So he told me he would help me and all, and he gave me his email. Never responded to it. But at the time, he had the liquor line that he was pushing.
That's right. The Dovetail,
Yeah, he was pushing all of those. So due to Benny's being there, he would come back more frequently because he was pushing it at different Benny's locations. So I got a chance to honestly see him.
You got more face time.
Several times in a row.
Yeah.
So each time I would go back and talk to him, he would give me a little bit more. So first time he gave me his email. Second time he gave me his phone number.
Yeah.
He didn't answer that either.
Right.
So, but the bit of information he gave to me that was very valuable was he said, hey, man, you need to talk to El Tiden de Bronze in Miami on Calle Ocho. He was like, that's Willie Herrera's family. Sandy's the owner. She's great. She might do the blend for you. So I kept calling down to El Tiden, and I couldn't catch Sandy because her mother was sick, so she wasn't in the factory.
Oh, okay.
Kept calling. So I finally was like, hey, I'm going to send some flowers down there just to wish the family well, wish her mother good health, and my ulterior motives to keep me on her mind, you know.
Right.
I still didn't hear shit.
Right.
So it was like 2 months after that, the same little voices that were telling me to start the visit was like, hey, you need to call right now. Now is the time to call. So I called, and Giselle, Willie's wife, answered the phone. So I was like, so I asked for Sandy, and she was like, oh, yeah, she's right here. Hands the phone over to her. Sandy gets on the phone. I told her who I was, and she said, you were the nice guy from Chicago that sent me those flowers a couple of months ago, right? I was like, yeah, that was me. She said, you know how to treat a woman, and due to that, I'm going to do those blends for you. So that gave birth to Black Star Line.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
man.
I also want Aric to talk about the logo of his.
Yeah, it's on your shirt. The logo on your shirt. Yeah.
He doesn't really say a whole lot about it, but I think that it's very important, for people to understand what the logo means.
Okay.
Because when he told me, I caught it, right? I was like, man, this is very interesting, and it's nice to know what it means. You know?
Yeah.
There's some thought,
right,
deep meaning, some layers behind the branding.
Well, the name of the company is Black Star Line Cigars. So I got that from Marcus Garvey. He had a shipping company called the Black Star Line, and his idea was to ship goods and people back to Africa. He got the name from the White Star Line, and the White Star Line is the company that built the Titanic. So almost everything I use is something to do with history, because I like people to not only enjoy a cigar, but also learn something about you that you may have never heard of before.
Right.
So the symbol that's there, it's like a crossroad. So it's an African symbol that's used, and it's used to open roads. So I wanted the roads for Black Star Line to always be open. And at crossroads are always moving. They're never stagnant. So it's just keeping the energy, keep the energy moving. So that's why I wanted to use it for the company. Wow. So yeah, it's a very positive symbol that, that brings a lot of positive energy to the company and anybody that works with the company.
And what about the skulls? I see a pair of skulls there. What's the meaning there?
Well, that's sort of like with Black Label Trading Company uses a lot of skulls and stuff like that. I like skulls, and it was like the original.
And there are other companies that use skulls too. Viaje does.
Oh yeah, the original version of the logo was kind of rotated and it didn't have the skulls in there. So the guy that designed the whole logo, he showed me the different version, and he was like, "Man, I think it'll be dope if we just added the skulls in there." So I looked at it and I was like, that actually is pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah. So the skulls don't actually have a technical meaning. It's just aesthetic. Yeah. So, but
maybe Memento Mori.
right.
Doesn't
right.
You deal with Oveja Negra? That's Black Label.
Yeah, they have.
I think they have a brand called Memento Mori.
Yeah, they sure do. They sure do. It's a good stick too.
Okay. We used to carry them years ago, but I don't know if we were just too early or. Louisiana, I don't know how much you know about the Louisiana cigar market. I think this is actually one of the toughest markets for a brick and mortar to stay in operation, right? To stay relevant, because it's not because there aren't a lot of cigar smokers. I think per capita, and I don't have any concrete data. So this is just all speculative on my end, anecdotal, just what I've seen over my 25 years of smoking cigars. Okay. I think this state has the most cigars per capita. But because we have factors like a high excise tax rate, it's a poorer market. We have less people. These are all factors that really, there's a reason why there's more shops in Houston than there are in all of Louisiana. Yeah. So it's really tough. And I don't know if maybe that kind of hurt Black Label, at least for us. I know they're in other Louisiana stores just for whatever reason. And we really nurtured them and pushed them, and we'd get people to try, but we just never saw that bounce back.
Gotcha.
So maybe it would change if we brought them in now, but I don't know. It's just, I try to bring in boutiques, but now we're really being selective just in light of, our initiatives, doing our own, more than just a typical stock of, hey, every factory offers a house blend, which they offer to everyone. Now, we're going into more detail. We're visiting the factories. Yeah. So it just, I'm mentioning that just to, for you, advice, little tip that you're going to hear a lot more no's, and you probably already know that in the beginning. But what I like and what I'm hearing from you, what it sounds like, is that you're very persistent. Yep. And that's a quality I think that is needed for success. You
have to be, right? Because you're the new kid on the block.
Yeah.
Right? And then you have all these other, and sorry to interrupt, but you have all these other big players, right?
They're established.
Yeah. And they've been around for a lot longer.
And they're not gonna give up their shelf space lightly,
Not. So then you have to be that guy, persistence, right? You have to be that guy.
I mean, look, Rocky Patel is a classic example. Jonathan Drew. I mean, these are types that weren't part of like, I'll say it, the establishment, I guess, the Latin culture, which that's a strong network. So it's kind of hard to break in if you're not of that community.
Yeah.
Not to say that they won't do business, right? Because a lot of people don't realize there are a lot of Jewish groups and families that have been involved in the industry for hundreds of years in America.
Well, Jonathan Drew's Jewish, right?
Yeah, he's Jewish. The Newmans, the owners of Ashton, like there's a lot of Jewish people. So I'm not saying you have to be Latin to be successful as a manufacturer.
Yeah.
But I think showing that persistence, like Rocky Patel did.
Yeah.
He's Indian.
Yeah.
Like he just kept at it, and he wasn't. I'm sure he had a lot of tough roads ahead of him in the beginning.
Yeah.
But he was just so persistent. So just
But
I guess a
even the
little not advice, but like, hey, there's insight into other people's stories and how their strategies work for them.
Even the Latins struggle too. I mean, if it wasn't for their persistence, they probably wouldn't be anywhere near the industry. I mean, and
look at the Cuban story, right?
Yeah, well, what I'm trying to say is, I'm pretty sure that Latins will probably help out other Latins, right? But they'll also help out, non-Latins, right? To make them a cigar, to get them going. What I like about Aric is that, and this goes to some of the other lines that I represent, non-Latins, they get in there and they play with tobacco, right? And they start tasting the tobacco, and so they're trying to transcend this message through the tobacco that they're using in the cigars, so that they actually understand a little bit of what they like, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I liked about Aric, because even though he doesn't have his own factory, he does go down there and he does test blends with all the tobaccos that are available to him.
How often are you visiting all your partner factories on average, like a month?
Oh, I don't go that often, bro.
Okay.
Actually, a few weeks ago, I was at Tabacalera La Isla. That was my first time in Dominican Republic ever.
Okay.
And then Aganorsa, my first time there was this past December. Because when I started the company, it was during COVID. So, there was no traveling. So I did everything remote.
Okay.
I would send the blends over. They would send the samples to me.
Wow.
I would smoke them. They're good enough to my liking where I didn't have to change anything. Then I would put it in production,
Okay.
So, I started going just recently.
Yeah. That seems that it would be challenging to do it like during COVID, right? Remotely.
Yeah.
Not having the chance to visit these operations.
Yeah.
So like I guess I'm just trying to figure out like how hard or easy was it for you to get this FaceTime with some of these industry folk to start like working on blends, and like how did you contact them? Was it via email or like
No.
just
So,
because of your experience having worked the Chicago scene?
Yeah. So
And like Sandy, obviously.
So I've been to LT and DeBrowns too. So
Okay.
I had to move all production from LT and DeBrowns.
Okay.
The whole factory had caught COVID.
Oh,
So
man.
the factory was shut down.
Okay.
From Sandy on down, everybody was sick.
Wow.
So when they opened back up, LT and DeBrowns really small,
Yeah.
like 8 rollers or so. So Sandy said she can get me cigars, but not the quantity I needed. So I was like, all right. So I had to make a decision. So I decided to move all the production to Aganorsa.
Okay.
How I got introduced to Aganorsa was through Sean Williams. Sean Williams is
Oh,
my
I
mentor.
know Sean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my boy. Yeah, that's my brother. Yeah, he's my mentor.
Yeah.
So he's the
from
one
New
that-
Orleans. Yeah.
Yep. He's the one that introduced me to Terrence Riley. So
Okay.
with Aganorsa, I deal directly with Terrence.
Okay.
So me and
Yeah,
him
yeah, yeah.
talk, or FaceTime, whatever. So that's how I would do with Aganorsa.
Yeah.
Me and James Brown, we did the blend remotely because he wanted me to come down to the factory, but at the time we couldn't
Yeah, you
coordinate
couldn't
our
go.
schedules.
Okay.
And then La Isla,
James Brown of Black Label.
Black Label
Yeah,
Trading
yeah,
Company.
yeah.
Yep.
For people who don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so I've done blends in person, and I've also done them remote. Now,
Okay.
it was tough during COVID, because also during COVID, the reason why I'm not a firefighter anymore is because I tore my labrum in my hip really bad. So I had to go through 4 doctors to find one that was confident enough to fix it. So I actually had surgery on my hip. So the company is thriving. It's new, but it's doing extremely well. And my website was going crazy because, during COVID, everybody was at home smoking and drinking. So I had like 30, 40 packages going out a day. And I'm laid up on the couch because I can't walk. So my wife had to package up all the packages and ship them out.
Were you more direct to consumer in the beginning, or
Yes.
direct or B2B? Okay.
Yeah, direct to consumer.
Wow.
Yeah, because
so you came in a direct DTC to consumer first.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. My first customer was Underground Cigar Shop in Fort Worth.
Your first shop customer.
First cigar shop. Yep. That was my very first one. Don, the owner, found out that I was coming out of El Tite de Bronze, and he was like, "Bro, that's my favorite factory ever. I want them."
Okay.
So he hadn't even smoked the cigars and bought them. So
explain to people who Underground is, because I know of them by reputation. I don't know the guys, but for cigar nerds,
Underground Cigar Shop in Fort Worth, Texas, was my very first customer. It's almost like Don's running a little cult down there, a cigar cult. So
I've heard,
he's got a great following. It was a fantastic lounge for me to initially get into. So I've had a lot of blessings just get thrown my way, So it was very fortunate that I got in there, and I've been in there ever since. I do NFG every year. I do a special cigar for them. NFG stands for No Fucks Given. Nice. It's their like annual cigar festival.
Yeah.
So it's coming up this year on March 9th. I actually did a new blend with Ostos for NFG 24.
Cool.
So that's on its way from Santiago to Fort Worth right now.
Oh, okay, cool.
So it was just really fortunate that I got in there because he helped me to launch Black Star line in lounges. So
it almost probably gave you some legitimacy to other cigar shops.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
I mean, it couldn't hurt. It didn't hurt.
Yeah, it was, and also it was the fact that I came out of El Tite de Bronze because they don't work. They don't work with just anybody. Right. They got a great reputation.
Yeah.
Expensive,
and their capacity, they physically can't offer more. They're so small.
Right. Especially when Sean brought Cohiba there.
Yeah. The Syrian.
Partagas started doing stuff there, and then Willie was doing stuff there too. So in the way that I got to Aganorsa, when Sean Williams came to Chicago, so I went to his event, and he was like, "Man, what do you want to do with Black Star Line?" So I told him, I was like, "Bro, I love El Tite de Bronze, I do, but due to the fact I'm buying tobacco in America, the price is really high, bro."
Yeah, it's very cost prohibitive for sure. Yeah.
So he's like, "Man, who you want to work with? Placencia, Aganorsa." He just named a bunch of factories, and I'm a fan of Kyle and Warped. So I told him, and at the time, Kyle was working with El Tite, and he was working with Aganorsa. So I was like, "Bro, I think I want to work with Aganorsa." He said, "Okay, give me a day or so, I'll get back to you." He hit me the next day and was like, "Hey, I talked to Terrence Riley, the VP of sales. He's ready to work with you, man. Just give him a call." So I gave him a call. I gave him the 2 blends. One of them was Warwich, and the other one was a blend I probably would never use. I didn't like it. But when Warwich came, it's a Connecticut broadleaf, Nicaraguan binder and fillers. And it's a 6x46 with a soft box press.
Okay.
So
I'm just reading the notes here.
Yeah, when it came, bro, when I smoked it, I was like, wow. Like I was just really blown away. Like it's spicy, peppery. It's got a slight sweetness to it. It's got strength to it. It's not your grandfather's Connecticut, So when I smoked it, I knew it was special, and I was like, man, I gotta put this on the market. And sure enough, when I put it on the market, it became the flagship of Black Star Line. So the name Warwish came from a movie. It was filmed in the Congo. It's about a young lady that has spiritual powers to see her ancestors. So the local army took her along with them. And anytime the army was getting ready to get attacked, the ancestors would actually show up and they would warn her. So they would strategize either fight or run. So I thought it was a dope movie. So I was like, let me take that name and put it put it towards the cigar.
Cool.
So,
yeah, it sounds pretty good. Ecuador, Connecticut shade wrapper. You got it in 3 sizes right now. Okay. From Aganorsa. Yeah, no, Terrence is awesome. Like we have one of our brands.
He's an okay guy.
Oh, he's okay. Heard that, Terrence?
Yeah, that.
Got to come in here and defend your name.
I just recently found out that Terrence is scared to go to beaches because he's scared of sharks.
What? Well, that's not the worst phobia. I mean, that's pretty rational.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is kind of funny. So he won't go near like a beach?
He didn't like it.
Oh,
because of sharks. Yeah. And I was like, bro, they don't come all the way up on the on the beach, but I get it.
Right.
Maybe in Florida they do.
Yeah. So I go every year to the Keys. A group of friends and me, like for the last 5 years, we'll drive from New Orleans all the way down, and we usually stay in Marathon. And this past, and we usually do it in August for the lobstering.
Okay.
And this past year, actually last year, not August of 23, but of 22 was the first time I'd seen a shark.
Okay.
You know, like swim right by me.
Oh,
and
really?
man, it is kind of unnerving. Like, fortunately, just kept on going. And I don't know what kind of shark it was. It may have been a nurse shark from what the other guys said they saw too. But I don't think that's quite the irrational fear. Maybe if you're on the beach, that's kind of weird. But if you're in the water, I can understand that.
Right.
That's so funny. I'll have to give Terrence some grief for that.
Yeah.
So let's pivot here and go to Albert, because you've been kind of quiet. So give me your story for people who don't know who you are.
So, Albert Cisneros with Smoking Swan Brand Management, right?
Okay.
Been in the industry. We were just talking about this the other day. I was counting. I am on my 19th year in the cigar industry.
Congratulations. Wow.
Thank you. 10 years as a retailer, 6 years with the Polars, 2 years with Rojas, and now as an independent.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, it's good to be able to work with guys like Noel, Aric, you know. I also work with Ian from Dapper. I work with Oscar in some states other than
That's
Louisiana.
a big pickup.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Oscar,
a big pickup. I was surprised when I read that. I was like, how did Albert get OV? But I guess perfect timing or
Perfect
whatever.
timing, man. Perfect timing. Those guys are great.
Yeah.
I mean, I just picked up Adventura.
Okay.
So I have Stolen Throne, you know, with Lee Marsh. So those are made at the Rojas factory.
Okay.
So, you know, just starting out, man, and I think I have a good lineup, and you know, love working with guys like Aric, you know, that are up and coming. You know, my phone rang a lot for me to represent the brand, and obviously, you know, it just didn't make sense for me. You know, I wanted to stick with boutiques, right? Because I've learned that from the previous employers, the Polars, right?
Yeah,
when
yeah.
I was
You
working
work with the
them.
Polars, yeah. Yeah, we had Ryan on a few episodes ago. I think we hadn't had Tom or PJ yet. But you work, huh?
He's an all right guy.
Yeah, he's an all right guy.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. I love those guys, man. So, but yeah, I mean, and I think what I've learned from them is, you know, we're using.
Oh, here, right here.
We're using, you know, they taught me to pick some brands and work them hard and work them deep. You know, don't pick too many because then you can't really work, right?
Yeah, you can't really service everyone or give them enough face time.
So what I've actually done, Lou, is I've actually set myself up with a small group. So what I mean by that is I have two guys, Nick and Dan, that they have full-time jobs. And they help me with my website. They help me with follow-up calls. You know, any events that we want to set up and all that stuff. It could all be done through me or through them, right? So the minute that I leave here, 3 weeks down the road, Dan or Nick will call and say, hey, I know that Albert was just there. What did you think of the samples? Yada, yada, yada. And the reason why I did this is because I admit I'm human, right? And I forget things. So if I tell you that I'm going to follow up with you in 3-4 weeks and I don't, then you'll be like, oh, that guy didn't call me back. So he must not want my business, right? And I think we just get occupied with the road, everything that we're doing, you know, and
especially for people on this side of the table, like you guys. I don't know how many shops you visit on average per day. If you have a internal quota, let's say it's 4 or 5. You know, you do that in a week. Maybe that's 20 shops in a month. Maybe 80 to 100.
Right.
That's a lot of like management.
Right.
You know, of tasks from every store.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of names to remember, or just dates and appointments. I know we have the technology to help with our calendars and all, but things slip through the cracks.
Yeah. So,
And I get it because I deal with the same thing. That's you've heard me voice my frustration of
right,
some of these manufacturers, and I know it's not intentional.
right.
It's just
But-
I guess we all
It
like,
just happens.
yeah, and we have the same thing on our end,
Yeah,
right? With trying to manage hundreds of customer requests, like this guy wants this box, and
Yeah.
trying to like
And the
balance
older you
that.
get, you start forgetting things. I mean, the only reason I don't forget to wear underwear is because it has my name on it. So, but I've set myself up with that. Now my wife, she'll help me out too with the books and and all that stuff. And my main purpose is just to go out there, sell events, and that's it. Follow up when I have to or when I can, right? But the other guys they come in handy because if I'm not
good support.
If I'm not in a territory that hasn't been seen or talked to in a while, that's why they're there. For instance, if you go up to the Midwest, they're probably under snow at this time of the year. Texas boys, Southern boys, we're not good with snow, right? Hell, we're not even good with rain, you know? So, I mean...
And you probably laugh at us with the snow. Like, if it's 50 degrees, we're parking out.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, man, this shorts weather for me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, I think by doing that, it's a good thing for me and my business because, everybody's being touched, whether it's by a phone call or an email,
Right.
or,
Some sort of point of contact.
Somebody's reaching out.
Yeah.
So, man, I started in January and so far it's going well, man.
Yeah.
Now there's a bigger picture to this, right? Eventually, what I would like to do is have two other guys to help me, right? And
Like
I got
on the
this-
road, huh? You mean?
Well, no, not on the road. Well, maybe, but not now. But
More back office type?
well, let's just say like a call center, and where I'm calling a territory where there is absolutely no representation because all the good reps are in house, right? And the company and I will come to an agreement, whatever, and then we have those guys just calling that territory, and maybe I can go out there and do an event, maybe 2 a year, to show support, and that's what I would love to do. Now, I got that idea from somebody else, but I think that he covers a vast, territory, and I think in the other side of the world, which is our area somewhere here, I can fill in that department,
Yeah.
So that's the big picture, right? But in the meantime, while I lift
trying
this, while I lift
incrementally
this up,
grow,
just do it the way we're doing it, and so far so good, man. It's going well.
Yeah.
These guys that are helping me out, man, they've worked in cigar shops, so they know cigars. They're cigar smokers, and again, they're part-time workers, and I'll take it. I'll take it because I could use all the help I can get.
It's interesting. When I first started in the business as a career, it was 2003. Back then, a lot of your brokers were really just one-man operations.
Yeah.
At least in our territory.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know about the Northeast or other parts of the country in the West, but at least for our territory, it was like one-man operations. And it's interesting to see. I guess it's a sign of the industry that, it's been doing pretty well the last couple decades, where I'm seeing these brokerages hire now more people, more staff. And I guess that's in order to service these shops, most efficiently, to maybe target or have a deeper reach into underserved spots. I know that there are parts of your territory that maybe just don't get a rep. Maybe if they're lucky once a year.
Yeah.
But man, I imagine like in this industry, and we're kind of a different shop in that we actually don't need reps to visit us. Like I like to do everything remotely, email, call, text, just because we're busy too. I mean, and I know as long as you respond that way, that's fine. Like, but I know that there are shops who only place orders when there's someone who physically visits them.
Yeah.
Which to me, that's boggled my mind because, man, if I'm out of a cigar, I'm not waiting on you to. I'm not waiting on Albert to come in to fill an order. I'm just going to text him or call the office directly. Like, call that person who actually physically enters in keys in that order in their system.
But that's just the old school way.
But that was from how I got brought up in the industry. I used to work for Imperial Trading, a big C-store wholesaler, and I was, I oversaw their premium cigar division. Like, I couldn't afford to wait, because we're doing a lot of volume, so I can't wait on reps to physically see me.
Right.
I'm like ordering.
You miss ordering cycles.
Yeah.
Well, that's what makes it.
Yeah, there's like a science, like a flow to it. Yeah.
And then you miss, right? And then now you're falling behind, right?
Yeah.
Well, that makes it tough for me because at a time I didn't have any reps, so I would be the rep, and the only way I would know the product is sold out because I would go to lounges and the product would be sold out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, why didn't y'all call, text, email, something so I can get your order and keep the product in there, because if it's sold out.
Yeah, but a lot of shop owners are just not that proactive.
Yeah, I found that out the hard way.
Yeah. And I hate, like me, the thing that pisses me off the most in the world is that missed sale. Yeah. Because that's a lost sale. There's a metric, there's a term for that. You miss that sale and you'll never get that back.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Moved on.
Right. It's lost. Like we miss it. Like you said, we miss a cycle.
Yeah.
Like that customer might come back, but now, like if you miss enough, like if that customer comes in enough times, maybe like you just are out of stock one time and he's done with you.
Yeah.
Like that gives an opportunity for him to like start swimming elsewhere and then normalize his buying pattern at some other shop or online.
Indeed.
So like that's why I fear not just I miss the profit, but now I cause this disruption in this consumer behavior where he might go somewhere else.
Right.
As long as, and that's kind of, it's not really a secret. It's not rocket science. I think that's led to our success with our locations, that we are stacked and we'd like to be, fully loaded with inventory because for fear of missing that sale.
Right.
I think a lot of these shops that are opening up now, I think their mentality must be different than the ones that have been in the business for about 10 years.
Yeah, the old heads.
Because they expect a rep to be in there every 4 weeks, every 6 weeks. And I'm on an 8-week cycle, right? And that's why I have 2 other guys that help me out, because I can't get to you in 3 weeks or 10 days, or I can't, There's so much territory to cover, and there's only one Albert, right? But there's a Dan and there's a Nick that could help me with the phone call, right?
Yeah, at least a phone call.
Yeah, hey.
Like Warped is brilliant about that. Like Kyle doesn't. You mentioned Kyle. I don't know how well you know him, but they're always calling every week, or at least emailing every week.
Right.
Okay.
And so no one from Warp's ever visited our stores, but we do business with them.
Yeah. Now
and
they have reps.
Oh, they do.
Now they have reps.
They do.
Now they have reps.
Inside or brokers?
Outside. Yeah, brokers.
Okay.
So, again, a lot of the manufacturers feel that if they keep everything to themselves and they try to do all the work for themselves.
I think everyone wants to be a padrone, right? Everyone ideally wants to be a padrone where they don't have any outside reps or traveling reps. All the calls coming to them. I mean, that's great. Like, who wouldn't love that? But like, not everyone's a padrone,
right?
From talking about manufacturers.
Yeah, their machine is already built and it's well oiled, so they can do that.
Someone like you who's hungry, like you got to make that effort to get out there.
Yeah.
And the way Aric sees it is, it's not a cost to him, because if I don't sell any of his product,
right,
I don't get paid.
Yep. Yeah. You're incentivized, right, to make that sale.
Of course,
so it helps everyone out. Mutual incentives. Yeah.
And that's why I'm on the road so much. Like last year, I did 100 cutting lights nationwide. Wow. So I'm working.
Almost one out of every 4 days, 3 days.
Yeah, I'm working, bro. So and that's where I caught a lot of respect from not only retailers but also my predecessors like Matt Booth, Carlito. They follow me on social media. Me and Matt Booth became brothers, bro. Like we're like two. When we get together, we're like 2 toddlers. It's just hilarious, right? Yeah. But he told me, he was like, bro, you're working and you're doing exactly what, for a new company, you're doing exactly what you need to do to push that brand. Right.
It's grueling work in the beginning, but like if one is persistent, and this is in any industry, right? You'll get there. It might take a while. It might be like short term, but it's not. That's not the reality.
Right. Right.
Like this podcast, when I had to pitch it to Pops, investing all this money in this whole setup,
Yes, nice.
And I don't know. Thank you.
He
And I
doesn't know Pops.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
He didn't meet him.
Yeah, I didn't get
So-
the pleasure of meeting him this
Here's a
time.
tip, because I know Pops doesn't watch this podcast. Don't be afraid. Like he loves, like he puts on this facade, like this like tough wall.
Okay.
But once you break that, like, oh man, you're in like Flynn at that point.
All right,
like he'll
cool.
joke with you, and
Yeah.
but he like there's stories to me I just crack up.
Okay.
I guess his view is that I guess he's just been what's the word? Like he's seen it time and time again where reps don't last or a company doesn't last. So like why am I going to invest time and care for someone who in all probability might not even last?
Yeah.
Right.
Again, going back to the old school.
Yeah. A lot of them are like that,
Yeah,
right?
and that's your Pops, right?
Yeah,
That he's old school.
Mm-hmm.
And at times, he might be right because
Maybe like 80-90% of the time
Yeah.
he's right. But what about the 10% where he's wrong and like that guy blows up?
yeah.
Right.
Because in the beginning it's all about like creating those relationships when you're needed, like when you need the most.
Right.
Yeah.
And that carries on. I've heard the stories about like Carlito. He used to sell on consignment during the 80s
Yeah.
to shops because he wasn't still well known in the 80s. Like he had to work and he had to go on the road.
Yeah.
And there was a shop here in Baton Rouge that's no longer, I think they closed up in 2012. Gosh, what was his name? The shop was named Hemingway's. JJ. So JJ was legendary. JJ, he was like one of the early people to bring on Fuente, I think during the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And Carlito always remembered that.
Yeah.
And so when Carlito blew up with Opus X, JJ was like the only person like in Louisiana and like on the Gulf Coast to have like all the Opus when it was really
Yeah.
in demand because Carlito valued, JJ's help when he needed it the most. Now, like Carlito doesn't need any help,
Right.
So like that's my fear of like why I at least want to give everyone a chance
Yeah.
and see, okay, we brought you in, we gave you some shelf space. Now there are some exceptions, like we won't bring on certain people just because there isn't anything that's appealing. And you probably heard me with the pitch today to you, like, why should I bring you in?
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, give me a compelling reason or reasons why I should bring you in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think for him, sorry to interrupt, Eric, but I think for Eric, you guys have a lot of things in common,
Oh yeah. Mhm.
right?
And I'm sympathetic to that because I had my own cigar in 2007. So I did the travel. So I guess I'm a little more sympathetic to your plight
Yeah.
or your challenges,
And then you guys work with some of the guys that, that make cigars for him too.
Yeah.
Right. So I can at least trust that, okay, at
Yeah,
least
you know the quality's
you
there.
chose the right factory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to some factories. I won't name any names, but I will never bring them in because I've seen their quality
Yeah.
control and their procedures, and it's horrific.
Right.
There's one in particular that I won't even mention the country of origin,
Okay.
but I had a chance to visit him, and it just smelled horrible, like
Yikes.
some sort of like biological waste.
Okay.
And he's like growing his brand. I'm like, well, I hope he changes standards because the last time I visited his factory, it was horrible.
Okay.
So at least the consumer and shop could be confident in your product.
Yeah.
Because you've hooked up with these established
Yeah.
factories who have good controls and systems.
I strategically partner with people. So, like I said, I was growing like crazy, and the orders were getting bigger. So originally, I used to keep all my cigars in my basement. I would house them all there, and the orders are getting so big. I was like, this whole basement is gonna be full, and I want to make sure I stay married. I don't want a whole basement full of cigars. So,
Well, you couldn't explain to your wife, like, honey, this is money.
Right.
This is the bank.
But this is what I did. I met Howard from Illusione, and Illusione started distributing to me. So all my product is housed in Reno now.
Oh.
So that's
currently?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that took a lot of work off of me because I was distributing myself. So I would pack up all the orders, not only for direct to consumer, but every order that was going to a lounge too.
That takes time. Yeah.
Yeah, it was breaking me.
Yep.
So I was very fortunate to get them. So I just submit the order to them, and then they ship it
fulfill
out.
it.
Yep. So that helped me out tremendously.
It's interesting to see Dion's transformation into now being an importer of sorts, or at least a distributor of sorts.
Yeah.
He started out in retail. Dion did, then had his brand. Now he's distributing other brands too. Like we deal with Mirafell.
Okay. Yeah.
If you know anything about Mirafell, I think there's only like 100 shops worldwide that are merchants, and it's all fulfilled via Dion.
Yep. Yeah. So they do a good job for me.
So that's smart on your part to. You know that your time's valuable, and you only have such a limited time.
Exactly.
Fulfilling it yourself right now maybe doesn't make sense. You can be more efficient outsourcing that to someone else.
Yeah. Down the line, I'll take the distribution back and I'll do it. I'm not ready to do it yet.
Right.
It's not enough of me around to do it. So
Yeah.
It's just time consuming.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it's not hard work. It's just
No,
it just
it's
takes
time
time.
consuming.
Yeah.
But eventually, the brand will grow. He'll have more sales reps, and Cliff and what's the national sales manager? Brad will play bigger roles where Aric would just be, focusing more on
The blends.
blending and growing the brands.
Yeah.
So. But that takes time,
Indeed.
and that's why we're here to help them grow
And hooking up with people like Albert,
Yep.
established
Yeah. He helps me tremendously too.
brokers or faces, right?
Yeah.
Because you already have contacts. How many states are you in now?
8. I'm in 8 states.
Okay.
I'm in 8 states. I cover the same states that I used to cover before:
Okay.
Kansas, Iowa, Nebraska, Missouri, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana.
And you hooked up with the guy in Texas, or a person in Texas, which is arguably one of the probably top 3, definitely cigar markets
Top
in this
3
country.
for sure.
Yeah.
Florida, Texas. Who would be up there too? I know New Hampshire, or
Hampshire's up
Northeast
there.
somewhere.
Yeah. Pennsylvania, actually.
Yeah, Pennsylvania. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
they're a big market.
Top 5 for sure. Texas is top 5.
Probably top 2, I'd argue. Top 3. Yeah.
Yeah. The taxes are low in those states.
Yeah.
So
All the factors are there. And if you listen to other industry people I've talked to based in Texas, it's just, I'm always talking about Texas and intrigued by that market
yeah.
because it's such a good cigar market.
Yeah.
It has all those
Because here is what, 20%?
20% of invoice cost.
Okay.
So that means typically with the way the markups are, is, we're about 10%, at least 10% higher than MSRP. So that puts us at a disadvantage, when consumers are
Right
always,
off the gate.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and that's just the minimum. I mean,
right
most
off
shop we're not even we're more than that. So again, that to back to my point of it's a challenge for a Louisiana brick and mortar to compete, especially like we're not even worried about competing amongst ourselves. We're competing against the internet.
Yeah.
That's our main
That's your
competition.
main
because
competitor. Yeah.
they're all about, as you know, discounting and small margins because they're making up on volume.
Yeah, definitely.
So I appreciate companies. I don't know what your policy is, but I appreciate manufacturers who price protect.
Yeah.
They have a MAP or minimum advertised pricing.
Okay.
That is a factor that makes me. That's another box to check off as to why I would bring in someone.
Yeah.
They're just not looking to damage their brand or
Right.
basically whore out themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like some other manufacturers have done to their detriment. I've seen, I won't name names, but we know some of those who've done that. For example, Pete of Tatsuahi, I just saw an email he sent out a few days ago.
Yeah, it's my buddy.
Yeah, where he sent out an email to retailers stating that, look, we have a transshipping policy that prohibits a retailer from selling, stock you order from him to another shop or another business for resale. Because this is a situation that the industry has had to contend with maybe like the last 5 or 8 years,
Okay.
where you have retailers shipping maybe stock that they have trouble moving to one of these guys online. I won't mention names, but maybe there's a few of them. They're looking because those online entities can't have direct like a business relationship with like say a manufacturer,
Right.
Okay.
because they don't play by the rules.
Right.
Gotcha.
And Pete said, "Look, if we find out, we'll cut you off as a retailer. We don't care." And they've done
That's
that.
fair. Yeah, that's
La
fair.
Flor Dominicana has that same policy.
Yeah,
like
my father does too.
Oh, they do. Okay.
Yeah, Rojas does too.
Yeah.
Rojas does too. They don't mess around with that.
Yeah. So just to give you insight, like as a retailer, I like that.
Yeah.
It makes me comfortable pushing your product because that is like one of the dynamics in our industry. I forgot who I heard this from first, but brick and mortars are sometimes, or most of the time, that kind of showroom floor piece where a customer will just try one, see if they like it, and if they do, they'll go online to buy the bulk, like
Right.
boxes.
Yeah.
So that just puts us at a interesting situation of like how do we stay relevant, which is why like we're doing more of our own private brands because at least now we control that.
Indeed.
If we hook someone on a brand, like one of our lanyards who's made by Aganorsa, they like it, they can only get it here.
Right.
And it's not anything novel. Like we're not claiming that we made that up. I mean, Ashton has done it. Dion's done it. Like
there's
they
other
started as
people that
retailers.
have. There's other people,
and they're
that,
doing it well
to this day.
Yeah.
You know, there's other people that are doing it now.
But yeah, I'm all about supporting the brick and mortars, and that's why at the end of last year I dropped the press release that I ceased direct to consumer sales.
Oh, lovely! Yeah,
so I do not sell
awesome.
on my website anymore.
Yeah. Which I get in the beginning. You had to do that.
Yeah, I got to get my name out there.
It's tough to open up doors right away.
But I got more lounges for people to get it.
If he were still selling to consumers, direct to consumers, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah, and I know you vet your prospective manufacturers on these topics, which is why like we trust people like Alberto. Like, all right, you're bringing us Black Star. Look, now we'll pay attention now.
Yeah.
So it's
I'm
kind of
just
value
excited about the opportunity that I get to work with this guy and everybody else that's in the portfolio, man.
Yeah.
You know, to be able to say, oh, I got Aric, or I got Oscar, you know, it's an accolade for me, you know. I mean, it's nice. It's nice to say.
So you've kind of enlightened me on some of the challenges. Like, what are some of the bright spots so far? I mean, you've kind of mentioned some, like meeting some of the people, but
yeah, it's just you know, that's one of the main things that I love, because I do a lot of events, so I get to meet a lot of people that already are fans of us, and then create new fans, and then, you know, they get to know us and I get to know them, and then, you know, it's great. You know, I get to meet a lot of new people. I love the articles that are done about me, reviews that are done about me. I've been to Half Wheel several times, and PCA's done blasts about me recently.
Cool.
Yeah, they reviewed Lalibela, and they did a whole article about me. Yeah, Lalibela, we didn't give that to you because it's sold out. It'll be back next month.
Okay.
That one's through Aganorsa.
Aganorsa, okay.
So,
San Andreas wrapper, okay.
The name Lalibela are stone churches that were built into the ground in Ethiopia. So there's 11 of them that they found. The 12th one is supposed to be where the Ark of the Covenant is. But if you're old enough to know, Indiana Jones found that years ago. So it's in a warehouse somewhere.
It wasn't in Ethiopia.
Yeah, right.
According to George Lucas.
Right.
Yeah.
But that wasn't supposed to be the original name of it. So I originally did Lalibela for Tim Hardaway. So
really,
yeah, Tim Hardaway is a family friend of mine.
Okay,
he went to Carver High School in Oakdale Gardens in Chicago, and my father worked his entire career there, from a teacher all the way to when he retired as a principal there. So that's how my father knew him, and when I finally met Tim in person when the All-Star game was in Chicago, you know, I told him who my dad was. He was like, dude, I loved your dad. He was like, man, he kept me out of a lot of bullshit.
Really?
Yeah, bro, he was gangbanging and stuff. So yeah, so my father was really proud of how he progressed and where he went, and that's why I became a big fan of him growing up. You know, he's a great dude. So he asked me, he was like, man, you want to do a cigar for me? I was like, hell yeah.
So he's a cigar smoker?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
he is.
Okay.
I think his son smoked some too. I don't know his son, but I think he told me his son smoked some too. And so I did the blend for him. Actually, I had samples from Noel Rojas and I had samples from Aganorsa, but the Aganorsa blend beat out the Rojas one. So I like the Rojas blend, but it just, everybody that I had smoke it outside of me said the Aganorsa one was better.
Yeah.
So
you were listening to consumer feedback before?
Well, me and my team smoke the samples and stuff, so it's not just me, you know.
Yeah.
I make the final decision, but it's not just me that smokes the samples, because I want to make sure that it's not that
you don't have the blinders and
it's
just about you.
Yeah, because I mean,
you got to consider the market.
Yeah,
it's what the market wants.
If I'm making the blend, I don't want it to be just 100% just me. I have to have other people taste it and say, hey, we need to roll with this. So me and Tim didn't know how to do the deal because it was something new for both of us. So we tabled it, and I was like, yeah, bro, this is a good blend, man. I can't sit on it. So I changed the name, brought it out, and it's sold out. You know, it's sold out nationwide, bro. Everybody's waiting for that cigar to come back.
What's the so this has been probably one of your most successful hits so far?
Yeah, along with Warwich. And, yeah, all of them are hits.
So if I'm only going to bring in 3 SKUs, I'm not promising, but I'm just saying, scenario.
Hey, you guys heard it.
3 slots.
Habana Port.
Yeah, sorry, Pops. I'm not committing. Because Pops writes the check, so I'm just saying, scenario-wise. Pitch me 3 SKUs.
Okay.
Which ones should I carry?
I would, just off the top of my head, I would go with Lalibela.
Okay.
Warwich, the Connecticut, and then I'll probably say Fahrenheit.
Okay. And it's very good.
Yeah.
So I got 2 from Aganorsa and 1 from La Isla.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So,
And what size in the Warwich? Just if I could do one, probably that Corona.
yeah, I would probably go with
Corona
the Corona.
Robusto.
Yeah, the Robusto is sold out right now. I didn't order it in this last order with Aganorsa that's coming next month. I'm gonna bring that size back later in the year.
Okay.
But
And Lalibela, which size should I?
it was
recommend?
blended in a Gordo.
Okay.
So
that was
that's the size that
was
Tim wanted was a Gordo.
Okay.
And then so I decided to bring out the Gordo and the Toro at the same time. The Toro is a 6x52.
Okay.
So when you scale down the filler, the Toro is even stronger. That's a strong cigar.
Oh,
bro.
the Toro's a bit stronger.
Yeah,
than the Gordo?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's a strong cigar. Like it's one of those like you got to eat like a real good like steak meal and then smoke that cigar. Otherwise, it's gonna beat you.
Yeah, it's got some high nicotine. Huh?
But it's well balanced though. It's not like you're just tasting all ligero. You're getting all the notes out of it, and then you're getting the strength too. Like it's a phenomenal cigar, bro.
Okay.
I always say it's curiously strong.
Oh, nice. Curiously strong. I like that.
Yeah, so it's a San Andreas binder, Nicaraguan binder, and filler.
So Lalibela is in reference to these stones
Stone churches. Yeah.
in Ethiopia.
Uh-huh.
That's just interesting you mentioned that because I just saw a program last night about Ethiopia and the culture.
Yeah.
And of course, Nick from Foundation
Yeah.
has a
there's a lot
relationship
of-
with Ethiopia.
Right.
Yeah, Haile Selassie, yeah.
The tabernacle and him being a knight commander
Yeah.
from the Ethiopian government. It's like one of the oldest Christian sects.
That's the church there. That's one of them.
Oh,
They're
okay.
amazing structures. Like whoever built them, they did a great job with these
Wow.
churches.
Probably
Yeah, it's
Mexicans.
ancient. Probably Mexicans. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah. Ethiopia is like one of these countries I want to visit now.
that's the top of it. So on the band, it's like on the band it's like a cross. Now,
Okay.
see, here's one thing I didn't tell you. All the branding for my bands and boxes are done by Cigar Dojo. So I'm clicked in with them too. So they do a
They
lot
help
of
with
stuff
the
for me.
graphic design.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, they told me I was on their podcast late last year.
Okay.
And they said on air, they were like, man, they were really excited when I approached them and asked them to do graphic design for me. Because they told me, they were like, man, it's something really special about your brand. And we want to make sure that we have a part in your journey and help you to get to where you need to go.
Well, I think that's what kind of I guess you guys caught my attention walking by the booth last year, and I saw this imagery. I was like, man, there's something about that. I don't know, kind of I guess I'm a sucker for minimalist design. You know, think about the apples of the world, just very clean. Warped is another one like that, dapper.
Yeah.
Like they all employ like this new age, I guess. I don't know graphic design, right? I don't know the principles, but I know what to me I like.
Yeah.
And there was just something about your the feel that.
Yeah.
There's
I wish you'd have stopped
an
in and talked
emotional-
to us.
Huh?
I said, I wish you'd have stopped in and talked to us.
They were so usually like it's only one person from our company that goes to
Okay.
PCA every year.
Okay.
This year we probably weren't going to go because one of our GMs is having a baby.
Okay.
But we're pivoting. We're trying to figure out how to make it because we don't want to miss that show.
Gotcha.
So I think my brother might be going.
Yeah, he mentioned that.
Yeah. Where was it going with that?
He's gonna come and drink some bourbon with me at the booth because
Okay.
we
He
have
did
bottles
say
there.
that. He
So.
did say
Really?
that. Yeah, he did say that.
Oh,
Yeah, we're gonna have a little
All right,
bourbon at the
all
booth
right.
with us.
Be
so.
careful. Be careful. he's smaller, but don't let the looks deceive you.
Oh, hey.
I think with
Sounds like my type of guy.
But going back, okay, go finish.
I was
your
going to
thought.
say that there was an emotional connection with the branding of
The imagery. Yeah.
Yes, that's probably why a lot of people are intrigued by Black Star Line. And like,
Yeah. What's that about?
yeah, what is that? And then when they hear the story, they're like, oh,
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
wow, okay.
I think we're all suckers for stories, even though I guess you're real purists are like you shouldn't judge a cigar on the look on the band, right?
Yeah.
Like don't buy a cigar based on the band, but you
right.
know what? There's a reason why companies invest so much time
Yeah.
to the design of the band or the box, because for end consumers they don't sight rules the world, right? So they're gonna judge a cigar based on how it looks. I mean, that's why like the Gurkhas of the world have done so well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know,
Even with Fahrenheit, like there's a firefighter on the band, and that's because I'm a retired Chicago firefighter.
Yeah, it's your personal connection.
Yeah, but then it's also because I'm a fan of Queen, and then Don't Stop Me Now, Freddie Mercury sings about Mr. Fahrenheit in the song. So I took the name out of the song.
Yeah, it's kind of like your company like motto or mantra. That's cool. But no, going back to like why we didn't visit, there are vendors that we deal with that I couldn't visit.
I get it.
Like, and I'm only there for like a day. Or maybe a day and a half.
I was still with Rojas when you came by. Well, I
went like twice. Like,
Yeah.
and I didn't set the appointment with you,
Right.
but I was hoping like in the 5-minute downtimes I have walking by, and y'all were busy, and I get it. Like he's just not available, so we'll catch him hopefully on the next time. We just didn't. Yeah, we didn't hook up with Rojas. So it just don't take it as like an affront or a slight. But I try to have the appointments booked.
Yeah.
So like my time's not wasted because we have such a finite time.
Yeah.
I wish we could spend more,
Yeah.
and hopefully down the road we can spend like the full days.
Yeah.
There.
Well, we met when we were supposed to meet, and that was today.
Yeah.
So,
exactly. So it was meant to be. It was good.
Yeah.
But with it being in New Orleans next year, like we should be there every day.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah. That's cool. So Albert, with like Rojas, you were the VP of sales before?
VP of sales with Rojas.
Yeah.
A couple of years. And I decided to step down. Nothing against Rojas or anything like that, because he's still my customer. He's still a client of mine. And I just realized that I'm not the guy that sits behind a desk and looks at a computer for 8 hours a day, and that's not me. I don't mind the forecasting. I don't mind the projecting and all that other stuff. I can't sit behind a desk and just look at a computer all day. I can't do that. I'm a road dog, right?
You missed the road. Huh?
I missed it. And it's not that Noel was preventing me from doing it, You
were doing more administrative activities,
yes.
You were in the ivory tower.
Yeah. I was the guy with the corner window, corner office.
The C-suite.
Yeah. That was me,
Yeah.
And Noel didn't want me to step down, He said, "Are you sure?" I was
he didn't want to. Yeah.
I'm positive.
But that's cool that, all right, you left Rojas in the capacity of the VP of sales, but you still have the business relationship via him still being a client of yours.
Right.
So you haven't really lost the connection to Rojas.
No, not at all. Actually, I just got back from Nicaragua, and I was there in November of last year, and Noel and I were blending a cigar, which is the new Cinco de Mayo that's coming out this year.
What's that about?
Man.
Or can you give information on
Yeah,
that?
absolutely. So it's a Habana wrapper with Mexican San Andres binder.
Okay.
It's got some Nicaraguan binders and fillers as well. So it's a nice medium body smoke, and it's going to be 3,000 boxes, 10-count boxes. So we're going to own, Cinco de Mayo, just like everybody owns, Oktoberfest or
Black Friday,
or, all that stuff.
Thanksgiving,
so with Noel, we're gonna own Cinco de Mayo.
Wow,
right?
There you go.
So we worked on that blend together, and then we also worked on the blend for the 10-year anniversary. So a lot of people don't know that Noel has been in the industry for 12 years. He started off with Guayacán and Sabores de Lee, and obviously folded, but rebranded, and he's been in business for 12 years, So that 10-year anniversary, it's actually a bolder smoke because it has broadleaf, it has a dark Habano wrapper on it, and it's got, again, jalapa and condega in it too. So
nice.
I mean,
that sounds good.
Yeah, man. It's a bolder smoke, and I was down there helping him blend with this. I'm not a blender,
At least give your insight.
Right.
You smoked some of these, right?
But we
These
were
prototypes?
picking and choosing the tobaccos together, and that was just an experience that I will never forget. And eventually, I'm not saying tomorrow or a year or two from now, but eventually I would like to dive into the blending part a little bit more.
Okay.
you know, because I really enjoyed it. I was like, man, this is amazing. My mind was just like,
you're a chef.
blown.
You're a creator.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, and Aric can attest to this, you know, the minute that you start blending cigars, your cooking just becomes that much better.
Oh yeah.
And I realized that because I do some cooking. I'm not going to say take all the credit, you know, but I do some cooking, and you just start, you know, doing a little dash here and there, and then it's like, okay, it's perfect, right?
Yeah.
And that's what happened with these blends. So Noel's coming out with 2 blends that I've helped with, and they're going to be good, available for the PCA.
Okay.
So
Cool.
Is that going to be an annual release, or like for Cinco de Mayo, or
it's
available all year round?
So it's going to be for Cinco de Mayo, but it's going to say this year's going to say 2024 edition.
Okay.
Next year will say 2025.
Oh, cool.
You know,
Like a vintage.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're going to start off with 3,000 boxes, 10-count boxes. The graphics on it are actually pretty cool.
Okay.
It's still going with the same skull, just different colors.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Right. So more festive towards the Cinco de Mayo celebration. Even though as Mexicans we don't celebrate.
I know.
Right?
The Battle of Puebla.
Yeah. So that's why we call it the Cinco de Drinko, right? Because
But I've heard that even in
I've never heard that before.
so
But I've heard even in Mexico, a lot of Mexicans are now starting to celebrate that because it's so big in the U.S.
Gotcha.
yeah, I mean,
It didn't originally start out that way. It
No.
was made up by Corona, I think,
Right.
as a holiday to
Oh, really?
generate
I didn't know that
sales.
either.
Yeah, it was all made up.
Okay.
so
Kind of like all these Hallmark card
Yeah.
holidays.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
look, as Americans, we don't need a reason to drink, right? We just find every little reason to drink.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Or no reason at all.
Oh, no reason at
Yeah.
all. And it's just like, okay,
Oh, it's 10 a.m. on a Friday? That's
Hey,
fine.
you can't drink all day if you don't drink early, right?
Yeah. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
So those 2 are coming out for PCA, and obviously he's coming out with KSG again for October.
Yeah, it's a good stick.
So limited runs,
Yeah.
you know, for him on the KSG. So
And of course, the street tacos, which I think what most consumers know him.
yeah, and there's a story behind the street taco that when I tell it, people are always like, "There's no way," you know. That's his favorite food. Street tacos. If it was up to him, he would smoke street tacos all day, every day. You know,
man.
I mean,
Or
eat.
And smoke.
Yeah, and smoke. Yeah. But he's down in Mexico, and he's buying tobacco for a blend that
Okay.
he's making.
He was down in the San Andreas
Yes.
region. Yeah.
And they told him, "Hey, Noel, you know, when we're done with work, we're gonna take you down to eat some really good street tacos."
Yeah.
And he says, "Man, I'm from Texas. We have taquerias everywhere."
Yeah.
So okay, we're gonna leave it at that. So he says, "Yeah, man." And we went. Taquerias on the right, taquerias on the left. He goes, but we come to this one particular spot, and it had a jumbo trompo on there, right? And he goes, and that meat was just spinning, and the cook was just like shaving that meat off.
Yeah.
And then to top it off, he was just chopping that pineapple and landing on the taco.
Ooh, man.
And then he goes, 20 street tacos later, it dawned on me that I should
20.
I should
Wow.
make a cigar and call it street taco. I said, bro, let's back up. You said 20 street tacos. He goes, yeah, they're so little. I said, I don't care how little they are. 20 is 20, man.
Yeah, that's a lot.
He goes, well, to be honest with you, I could have done 10 more, but I wanted to save room for dessert.
Noel is a big boy, though.
Yeah.
He's a
No,
big dude.
and he could eat.
Yeah.
I can attest to that. He can eat. And
A Cuban that likes street tacos.
oh my gosh,
That's funny.
yeah. When he comes back from from Nicaragua into the States, first thing he does, taquerias.
Wow.
And then he'll take a picture of the tacos. He'll post it on social media. I'm home. You know, it's like, okay, cool.
He should do kind of like what Barstool Sports does with the pizzas. He should just visit taquerias and rate the
I know,
tacos.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, what is that guy that does that one bite? Have you ever seen that?
No, but
It's
my
this-
staff is more involved in watching
There's this
that.
guy
Oh,
that
okay.
goes around to every pizzeria,
Oh, that's Dave Portnoy.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
And he just takes
owner,
one
the founder.
bite. Yeah, he just takes one bite, and he's all like,
Yeah, he'll like judge it, give
Yeah,
a score out of
yeah.
10. Yeah.
so.
That's what I'm saying. Like Noel should do that with like the
Yeah,
street,
yeah,
street
exactly.
tacos.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite Row House cigar is the Statement Lancetto.
Man,
Bro, that Vitola and that blend,
Yeah.
phenomenal, bro.
I'll tell you
Phenomenal.
what, my favorite that he makes, and it could be my all-time favorite, but the one that I really gravitate to is Unfinished Business.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a good cigar too.
Yeah, man. That's for me, it hits on all cylinders.
Yeah.
You know,
Because I support everybody, man. I smoke everybody's stuff.
you have to.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah, you're a true cigar
Yeah.
enthusiast.
yeah.
Which is why I told you before we recorded, like mention who you want to, even if we don't do business with them, even if they're competitors.
Yeah.
Because I'm a cigar nerd and want to promote the entire industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
There's
that's how you
enough room
keep the
for
community
everyone.
strong.
Yeah.
You support everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that you've heard the term, the brother of the leaf, the sister of the leaf.
Yeah.
There's that. You know, we're such a small group, and we're always getting bombarded from these anti-smokers or.
There's an acronym in Chicago. I don't know if it's here. It's POTL, the Pastors of the Leaf.
Oh wow, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah.
The pastors of the leaf.
Yeah, it's pastors.
Are these
that
religious
smoke.
people that
Yeah,
smoke?
they're pastors and they smoke.
Yeah. Well, we've had clients over the years that were from the Catholic Church or other church or religious groups, and they're enjoying their cigar.
Yeah.
It's a divine thing.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that's cool.
Nothing wrong.
No, but I feel like there's still like this negative
Yeah.
sentiment, but which is why it makes me happy to see in light of the podcasting environment right now with like the Joe Rogans of the world or the Tom Seguras. You're noticing if you watch or listen to these podcasts now, these hosts are smoking cigars.
Yep.
And they're elevating
Yeah.
the industry.
Yeah.
And you're seeing this intriguing intersection of the podcast world, cigars, the comedy world.
Yep.
And it's just, it's
It's a new era.
Yeah.
Because I think that it all started with COVID.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. It all started
Well,
with
it
COVID.
definitely like
It kicked it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It kicked it off.
injected this steroid
Right,
into it.
and it was just, I mean, you have millennials that are now smoking more cigars, It's
Yeah,
a
they're
new-
that age group now that we
Yeah.
see the entry level.
It's a new era of smokers, right? Obviously, we're not getting any younger either. So it's a new era of smokers coming in. They're not afraid to spend $10-12 on a cigar, which is the norm now,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
And regardless of who you are, whether you've been in the industry for years or in the industry for 5, I think the $12 price point is
Is now like what the $8 cigar
Yeah.
was like 5 years
yeah,
ago.
yeah, that's what it-
Inflationary times.
yeah, yeah. So
And this is an opportunity for people like you or companies like you to take some of that market share, from the established companies. Because, like I said, I'm also a historian of the industry, and I've noticed that like you can attribute these like brand leaders in every decade that are no longer relevant,
Yeah.
right? So, like in the '50s, it was Robert Burns.
yeah,
The '70s, it was a brand called Monte Cruz. In the '80s, it may have been like the Excaliburs of the world, the Punches of the world.
Right. Yeah,
'90s was like La Gloria Cabana or Puros Indios. But a lot of them now today, like young people would be like, what are those brands? Like, I don't know. And I've always like tried to figure out what is the dynamic that's going on, why these people who were king of the hill in those decades didn't maintain their relevancy. Kind of like the Sears versus Amazon
right.
dynamic.
Yeah.
And so that's for me personally why I've always had this drive to like just not rest on our laurels because someone's there waiting to take our position.
Indeed.
Right.
And that's why like some of these established people maybe are buying up some of these brands to maintain their shelf space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who we're talking about, like some of the big companies buying up these other guys just to maintain that relevance,
Trying to make it a monopoly.
Yeah. And I mean, it's part of the capitalism, right?
Indeed.
These interests are going to try to maintain their position. So, but look, is there anything else? We're about to wrap it up. Any words you want to impart or anything else to viewers?
I always tell with any podcast or interview I do, I tell people thank you for supporting me. If you bought my cigars or told somebody about my cigars, thank you. Because I can't smoke all these cigars myself.
Yeah.
So thank you from the bottom of my
I
heart.
mean, you could. It'll probably take you a long time.
Yeah, it'd take a long time. I could do it, but
Right.
yeah, I prefer other people smoke with me.
Yeah.
Well, before we go, if you guys would indulge me, we have this segment, kind of this lightning round of questions.
Let's
If
do
you
it.
guys are up for it.
Yep.
We are.
All right. So number 1, Tabasco, Crystal, or other.
Tabasco.
Tabasco, yeah.
Number 2, favorite vacation destination.
Mexico.
Maui.
Number 3, who would you want to smoke a cigar with, dead or alive?
If my dad smoked cigars, I would smoke with him.
Okay.
Arsenio. Ramos.
Oh, man, good one. Yeah. Let's see. Number 4. Okay, with industry people, it's kind of a 2-part question. What is your desert island cigar from your portfolio, and what's your desert island cigar from someone else in the industry?
From my line, it will be El Milagro Corojo.
Okay.
And I called it El Milagro because I felt it was a miracle that I got into the cigar industry.
Mm-hmm.
So those are my first 2 blends, El Milagro Corojo and El Milagro Sungrown. From somebody else, I'm going to go with, well, it used to be called Matapa, but it was an Axum now. That was a recent
Changed his
cigar
brand name,
that I was like, this is a really good blend.
Which one do you prefer, the Maduro or the
Maduro? Yeah,
Claro. Okay.
I never had the Claro, so
okay.
The Maduro. Yeah. So yeah, I would take that one.
Okay.
So for me, it would probably be the 10-year anniversary for Noel.
Okay.
Right, and then my all-time was La Dueña from my father.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
For,
that's a good
for
cigar
Christmas,
too.
they would send me 2 boxes, as a Christmas gift.
Wow.
And I'll take it, man, because I'm a sucker for broadleaf.
Okay.
There you go.
And I just love it.
Awesome. Last question. Who would you want to see here on a future podcast?
Boofy.
Okay. Yeah.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
He's just a complete fool.
He's awesome. We did an event with him years ago, and it was just so funny.
Yeah. Future here, I think I would love to see Steve Saka.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a good dude too.
I think that would be something for you guys to set up, and that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I would definitely watch.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. No, he did an event with us like early on when he launched. We did like this like very small group. It was like 20 people. And man, he gave his like academic dissertation on the industry. It was like I learned so many things that I'd
Smart
never.
guy.
Yeah. I mean, he's real for sure.
Yeah.
So, but with that, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for giving me the time.
Hey,
I know
thank
it's
you for
valuable.
bringing us in too.
Yeah. Oh, okay. If anything, I will buy
to
it.
resistance.
Pops won't buy it. But no.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, I appreciate it. All right, guys. Take care.
Thank you,
Everyone, see you next time.
We'll
Bye.
see you.